From the Disneyland Park to Disney Village and of course the soon-to-be-called Disney Adventure World, there has never been as many projects of such scale happening at the same time in the Disneyland Paris resort. It's become a tradition here in the channel to go around the parks and surrounding areas to follow these construction projects. Today, we'll start at the Disneyland Park with newly concluded works on Adventure Isle and Space Mountain, exit the park and move to Disney Village as its major overhaul continues to take place with brand new exciting developments, and end the video in Walt Disney Studios Park as it gets ready for the fast approaching opening of the biggest expansion in the history of the Parisian resort, and what will come after with The Lion King. So, lights, camera, action. Let's begin by walking right down the middle of Main Street, USA, and coming head to head with the castle. On the right of the chateau lies the castle stage that has been behind walls for quite a bit of time now. It looks like the works here are finally wrapping up. This renovation saw the reconstruction of several parts of the stage with a strong focus on the backstage areas, allowing for better access and backstage rooms for actors. Behind it is Snow White's wishing well. It has also been refurbished, just like the wooden bridge in front of it. Everything here is looking very good, and just a few days after I was here, the walls have been removed, meaning that this large area is once again open for all. Now, all it needs is a show, because there's no better location than this right here. Let's now move into Adventureland, where a large chunk of Adventure Isle was closed during our last construction update. Since then, the suspended bridge has reopened after its renovation, and so have all the caves and hidden paths around the island. Now featuring a treasure hunt-like quest. Advertised on the path to parts of the Caribbean through Skull Rock. This addition was announced last April and has now been completed. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said regarding the Pirate Galleon, which was meant to receive a complete overhaul announced back in 2023, but nothing has been done to date. This means that access is still blocked off, and surrounding areas are too, while the boat continues to rot. Would be great if Disney took care of this and not only reopened access to the boat, but also the snack location beneath it. Now in Fantasyland, last time I reported that some walls had appeared at the train station. Well, now it's completely behind screens and construction walls, as a major renovation takes place that aims to refurbish the station and the Meet Mickey Theater beneath it. These two are now off limits to guests as works take place. It's interesting to see Disney take such care of a train station that is closed nearly every day of the year. The railroad is yet another attraction that Disney needs to take more care of, with only one train running on many days and two stations open. Lines get way too long, making it impossible to use the transportation system as an actual transportation system. Hopefully, the renovation to the train station indicates that this ride will start getting more love in the future, and that at least 3 of the 4 stations will be used daily. Let's now go to Discoveryland, where yet another project announced not long ago is just wrapping up. Space Mountain, as we all know, has been feeling a bit under the weather with a severe case of Star Wars. But a project announced back when the iconic ride turned 30 this summer promised to bring back some of the magic into the land lost due to its age. The Space Mountain lighting project saw the complete overhaul of the outside light system, replacing, removing, and adding new special effects that can be seen as the night falls. During the day, there's also some changes, as the dome saw many of its elements worked on and repainted. The moment I stepped foot into the park, I immediately noticed just how much brighter and better the dome looked. This photo comes right from Main Street, and as I moved closer, it only got better with details such as the different tones of blue depending on how high up it is, or the new and improved spikes that are now more prominent. This renovation took months to be completed, all while the ride was open. Unfortunately, that does mean that the cannon did not receive the love it absolutely needs, so it's still quite bad. Hopefully next up is a major rework of the interior, and that also includes removing Star Wars and renovating the cannon, while also reworking the long-lost lights that follow the train upwards. Either way, at night, this looks truly outstanding and worthy of being in Discovery Land. Everywhere you look, there are lights, neon, and movement. I love it. Works aren't just wrapping up with the final touches being added and equipment removed. Somewhere else in the land, Buzz is behind construction walls, as its large-scale renovation takes place until the end of the year. On the outside, quite a bit of work will happen on the neon lighting on the towers, becoming even more vibrant. Inside, the space cruisers are being equipped with newer technology, with all Astro Blasters being replaced over this period. They will also feature new dashboards. On the sets, lighting is being completely overhauled, seeing the replacement of all spotlights and refurbishment of existing special lighting effects. Some of the targets will also be replaced with new ones to improve precision and performance. Moreover, countless other technical and visual aspects of the ride are getting some work done, including restoring several audio animatronic figures. Let's now leave the Disneyland Park and move into Disney Village. As you probably know by now, a multi-year transformation of the dining, shopping, and entertainment district of the resort is well underway. Currently taking place is a renovation of the existing shops and restaurants. The visual identity of Village is moving from a 90s and more tacky style to a more modern concept that celebrates the Disney stories and characters, not immerse visitors in them. Since our last update, the new security checkpoint on the side of Hotel New York has opened, which replaces the old and ugly green tents, while also adding some very much needed capacity, more than doubling the checkpoints from 2 to 5. This new booth is in the same style as the one that opened by the train station some time ago, and is without a doubt a major improvement. The area around it has also been redone to be more open, with new floors, trees, and green spaces. To the side and in front of this, walls hide construction works that are now replacing the floors to match the ones in the new areas, while also adding some new trees and others. The sports bar is now also well underway, with good progress since our last update. The two restaurants that used to be here, the sports bar and the New York-style sandwiches, will merge and become a larger space with a new sports bar. Inside the canopy, works are also moving in preparation for the reopening of this space, supposedly later this year. The first real new addition to Village will be the new McDonald's restaurant, just to the side of the existing one. This new fast food restaurant will feature 3 stories and a modern design that matches that of Rosalie. As you can see, the project has risen from the ground at great speed and is inching closer to completion, with all the walls in place, many of the windows too, and some electrical work happening inside. During these later stages of construction, the area around it has closed off, meaning that guests staying at Newport Bay Club will now need to take the long way to and from the parks via the New York security checkpoint. This is all to redo the paths with new floors and create a more pleasant boardwalk area closer to the water, as it was shared when the Village makeover was first announced. Another restaurant that is to be expected to rise quickly is the new Italian Casa Giulia, which effectively replaces Planet Hollywood. I'm pleased to say that works are now happening, with the foundations having been laid and construction of the building itself now happening as well, as you can see in these shots. The restaurant was originally meant to open in 2026, and it may still do so, but I would say that the most likely year is 2027. McDonald's, on the other hand, is set to open early next year, which will be followed by the closure and removal of the current one. In front of Casa Julia, a set of new security checkpoints, very similar to the new village ones on the other side, are being built. This will act as the exit from the security bubble into the train station and parking lot area, but also as a new entrance for those that want a more direct path into Village or the Lake hotels. Now, before we continue and move into Walt Disney Studios Park, some weeks ago I announced our merchandise shop with designs inspired by both the channel, like this vintage take on the name, and the many worlds of the Disney parks, from Space Mountain with Bring Back the Moon to Big Thunder Mountain with Hold On to Your Hats and the Wildest Ride in the Wilderness collections. I had a blast coming up with these designs, and I'm sure some of you will do so too wearing them. You can find out more at shop.themainstreetnews.com. I also debuted our new Patreon, where you can support what I do even further while receiving some fun perks, like the monthly wallpaper, exclusive updates, discounts for the shop, and more. These are two incredible ways to support what I do, and you can check them both out at our links down below. Now, back to the video. As you enter the park and pass through World Premiere to reach World Premiere Plaza, we see our first set of walls inside the park. The ever-changing maze of construction walls in World Premiere Plaza has moved once more to reveal new areas and hide others. The backside of the Walt Plaza Stars has been revealed with new streetlights and pavements. This is the ending point of the new parade route that comes all the way from the side of Frozen to here, and so this area has been left more open. The idea is that in the future, some shows could also be played on the Tower of Terror, like they have done in the past, but that much is uncertain. Some trees are still missing and should be added soon, but in my opinion the area could gain a lot of interest with just a few more trees and maybe a fountain, for example. Some changes have also been made to the entrance of both Stitch Live and Studio D, which now has a large LED sign in an Art Deco style and currently houses Meet Mickey as a Fantasyland location is under refurbishment. Either way, walls have now moved to the area closer to Tower of Terror. This is the final big piece of the puzzle when it comes to the renovation of this whole land. During this time, work is also continuing on the new covered queue for the Hollywood Tower Hotel, and so there's a good chunk behind walls. In the meantime, closer to Studio One is one of two new merchandise points. These are now well underway and will add more shopping space to an area that's missing it. The second one is close to the Animagique Theater and is in a similar phase of construction. The theater is set to somewhat change too, as a very large poster of Mickey and the Magician will be placed on the wall. We can see that the metal holders have been added, so it should be a matter of days for these to be installed. There's also a third small shop that's currently being built, using the old Fast Pass ticketing location for the Tower of Terror. Imagineers are adapting it and transforming the building to soon offer some merch too. This will see a lot of foot traffic once the expansion opens, and so makes complete sense. Also undergoing a renovation is the small ice cream and snack window to the right. This all in preparation for the people that will pass through here every single day starting in spring 2026. Standing close to the Studio One building and looking straight down into the new side of the park gives you an incredible idea of just how much will change once everything opens. The main gateway into Adventure Bay is Adventure Way. This large street is reminiscent of the Grand Gardens that can be found all throughout Paris, filled with trees on both sides, dividing the paths into three. These are adorned with countless streetlights and others, like the arches, filled with popcorn lights. Even the trees themselves have small lights, just like the ones in World Premiere Plaza. Adventure Way starts with these two structures. There are two adorned with different kinds of Art Nouveau items and also lights, including newly installed ones below their ceiling. When I was at the park, gathering all kinds of photos and videos. Many of the lights around the expansion were testing, so I was able to catch a lot of it turned on, and it looked stunning and very inviting. Similarly how Main Street USA looks like at night. Over on another entrance to this land, this time via Toy Story Playland, things are progressing incredibly. All the large-scale Christmas lights have been put in place, the path has been built and themed with dirt-like paint job, a lot more greenery has been put in place, and even benches themed to used popsicles can now be seen. This proves just how close to being ready several parts of Adventure World are. Taking flight in parachute drop, we see an army of bins that have been delivered and are ready to be put in their place all throughout the park. They are being held at a backstage area right below the ride. From up here, we can see much of the expansion. Here's a closer look at the large street that is Adventure Way with all its trees, lampposts, and gardens. As we get close to the lake, two large buildings can be seen. The still not named East Pavilion that will feature backstage infrastructure, a snack location inside, and a seating area outside. We can see that many new theming elements have been added since our last update, and that the show control room at the top continues to get its own theming too. Secondly is the large Regal View restaurant and lounge. This is a very large building that will serve as the main table service restaurant of the park, with character dining while also providing some immaculate views of the lake. I was able to catch some ground level close-ups, and we can see that a lot of change has happened in the shape of decorations and installation of other elements since our last update. From many of the detailing around the windows and edges of the walls, but also on the windows themselves and even the sign above the main entrance. I love pictures like this that gives us a ground view of the site because we lose a sense of scale with photos from the parachutes and even more so from Panorama Magique. From another angle, we can also see one of the newly installed domes above the ceiling. Note the popcorn lights everywhere around and above the restaurant. All the buildings around Adventure Bay will also feature these, once again mimicking Main Street USA, but with a completely different architectural style. From this spot, we can also catch a glimpse at one of the several merchandise locations, similar in size to the ones in World Premiere Plaza we went over earlier. There will be a few of these scattered around, mostly because of the lack of a large store. In front of the Regal View restaurant is the Rapunzel Tangled Spin attraction. The building housing what is the first ride of the expansion is still missing some details, mostly around the edges of the roof, but we can see that the top is mostly complete with a beautiful Fantasyland-styled roof. There are several of these around the lake area and we'll pass by a few more before the end of the video. The Tangled Gardens are also pretty much done and the trees have received their lighting too. On the other side of the street is a location for the newly announced ride themed around Pixar's Up. This flying carousel is still to begin construction, but some earthworks appear to have begun, meaning that once Adventure World opens, this section will be behind walls for several months as construction takes place. Over on the Cars road trip area, which will also act as a main gateway into the Adventure Bay area from the right side of the park, we can get a ground view and closer look at some of the new theming elements added to the large restaurant, including the tallest of the domes and a beautiful wind vane that decorates the top of this very large building. On its sides, all kinds of other elements that we already saw can also be spotted, but there are a few new ones like the lanterns on the walls, these that await even more theming to soon arrive. In front of it lies a large toilet block that's impeccably themed, once again rocking that roof style we saw earlier. The entrance is also receiving their theming and should soon be ready to welcome guests. From this area, we can catch a glimpse of the Lion King testing location that is sending boats down its drop to test for all kinds of things, including the splashiness of the ride, which will be minimized due to the cold days Paris sees. The large structure features a French flag which I found to be a fun little detail. When it comes to what we can see around the lake, there hasn't been much change since the last time we talked, because even then everything was looking very advanced, and so certain parts of the overall project are reaching their completion. However, we can see that some work is still happening around the rotating bridge, and that the little forest berm to the left of Arendelle has grown in size. Speaking of, Frozen is looking incredible. I was able to get a few photos at dusk, and much of the lighting was testing, and this will look gorgeous at night. We can see all the trees already in place, just like all the tall themed street lamps too. Inside the houses, different kinds of lighting is visible, giving the impression that people are actually at home. Closer to the entrance of Frozen Ever After, in this case the large store of the land, we can also see these lighting effects, and even on the castle this is visible. A very large amount of lights is still to be turned on, but more are done each day. I just know that at night this whole area will be stunning. On the top of North Mountain, Elsa's Ice Castle has been completely installed, overlooking the entire park. So much so that I went around the park trying to find different and interesting angles, like this one from the edge of Avengers Campus by the Theater of the Stars, this one that's very easy to locate as the exit of World Premiere, this above the Laughing Cow snack location by Road Trip, and this one visible through the forest in which that ride is located. With works coming to an end at so many different areas of Disney Adventure World, focus is shifting to what comes next with The Lion King. Thanks to these images by DLP Works, we can see that the groundworks are well underway. These that will be followed by the foundations. It will be incredible to see this project rise from the ground, just like we've been following Adventure World do in these past few years. It's crazy how just 2 years ago the expansion looked like this, and now we're a few months away from the opening of this major new step in the resort's future next spring. This photo that comes from the first construction update video I did. It's truly been a pleasure following construction with all of you on that side of the screen. And now, as always, thank you for watching, and that's a wrap.